There's something unusual happening with this year's flagship phones, and I'm curious if you've picked up on it too. Ever since the iPhone 17 series dropped, the standard models across major brands have suddenly become way more powerful and way more popular. In the past, the base versions were usually seen as the cut down or stripped options because they came with lower specs and cheaper pricing. But this year, things are totally different. Whether it's Apple, Xiaomi, OPPO, or vivo, the standard editions are now rocking features that used to be exclusive to last year's Pro models, plus a bunch of important upgrades. Xiaomi even went as far as giving the regular model a bigger battery than its Pro version. OPPO and vivo have also narrowed the camera gap between their standard and Pro models so much that, on paper, the base versions look almost like Pro-tier phones. So if we're judging purely by specs, the standard models actually look like great choices for everyday users this year. But is that really true? To find out, I've lined up 4 similarly sized next-gen phones: the OPPO Find X9, vivo X300, iPhone 17 Pro, and Xiaomi 17 Pro, so we can take a closer look at what they offer, especially when it comes to camera performance. A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from Maiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting tech content. I won't spend too much time on the design since you can already see the size and weight differences from my measurements, but I do want to mention something interesting. The Xiaomi 17 Pro can practically pass as an iPhone 17 Pro if you know what you're doing. As someone who has used Apple devices for years, that definitely caught my attention. When it comes to looks, what really impressed me this year were the back panel colors across all brands. Xiaomi's purple finish paired with that dragon glass texture looked stunning in person. It was basically love at first sight. OPPO's Chasing Light Red also stood out. Red can easily look cheap, but OPPO nailed it with a velvety premium feel that's both bold and elegant. They also switched from a circular camera module to a square one this year, which actually feels more comfortable in hand. Vivo, meanwhile, kept its signature circular camera design. Luckily, since this is a compact model, even someone with small hands like mine won't accidentally touch the lenses when using it. The frosted matte back also looks good, and honestly, I think the free blue option is even nicer than the one I have. At the end of the day, all of these designs look solid. You can't really go wrong with any of them. Now, in the 800-pound-ish, around $1,000 price range, camera performance can really make or break a phone. So let's look at what each of these devices is working with. OPPO packed the Find X9 with a Hasselblad-tuned quad-camera system that covers every focal length, and they even brought over the single-lens color calibration tech from their Ultra lineup, something that shows they're taking the standard model seriously this year. Vivo equipped the X300 with a 200-megapixel main sensor and a Zeiss APO super telephoto lens for top-tier clarity. Apple has pushed the iPhone 17 Pro's photography capabilities harder than ever, upgrading it to a 48-megapixel main camera that performs noticeably better than last year. Xiaomi 17 Pro comes with the new JN5 reflective telephoto lens, putting it right in the same league as the others. As for battery life, OPPO's Iceberg battery leads the group with the largest capacity, while the iPhone 17 Pro comes in with the smallest. If you'd like, alright, now let's head outside and put these phones to the test. Since all 4 devices come with different native focal lengths, every sample you'll see was captured using each phone's original lens setting. Let's kick things off with portrait mode. This portrait was shot using the main camera in portrait mode, and the first thing that stands out is how each brand handles color. OPPO and vivo have really developed their own distinct skin tone styles, and if you remember my comparison of the Find X8 Pro and vivo X200 Pro, you'll notice the same pattern continues this year. OPPO leans into a warmer look that makes skin appear lively, healthy, and glowing. Vivo, on the other hand, prefers a cooler, paler tone. The difference is very noticeable. OPPO also reproduces ambient lighting more realistically and delivers a softer overall image, while Vivo's photos come out slightly greenish with stronger saturation and contrast in both the background and the subject. If we're talking purely about color science, choosing between OPPO and vivo almost comes down to your personal taste. For Xiaomi, I shot using Leica Classic Mode, which has that film-style color treatment. Skin tones turn out bright with a touch of yellow, very typical Leica retro vibes. Among the four, Xiaomi has the strongest contrast, which does work well for portraits, but if you're shooting close-ups like I did, it can make facial lines look a bit too sharp. As for the iPhone 17 Pro, its main camera hardware isn't a major upgrade over the 16 Pro. It still relies heavily on lighting and subject modeling. Take a look at the face. It leans into reds and shadows, and the separation between the subject and background isn't very strong. You'd need some post-processing to refine it. Now let's zoom in on detail reproduction. Looking at hair strands, both OPPO and vivo deliver plenty of clarity without messy edge artifacts. OPPO's algorithm is softer, while vivo's is more digitally processed, but both capture detail really well. Xiaomi, because of how deeply it darkens shadows, makes black hair look a bit blotchy. And the iPhone? Its sharpening is famous or infamous. Yes, you do get crisper details, but it can feel a bit overdone, in fact, almost guilty level overdone. These results are all from regular portrait mode, and honestly, none of them are strong enough to make me switch phones or fall in love instantly. So let's move on to high-resolution shooting. Here, Xiaomi has its 50-megapixel mode, vivo gives you both 50-megapixel and 200-megapixel options, and OPPO uses Hasselblad ultra-light mode on the Find X9 to capture 8K ultra-light images. Since Xiaomi's high-res mode doesn't support portrait mode, and vivo's 200-megapixel camera doesn't support every focal length, all of these were shot in standard mode. ISO was completely automatic, no manual tweaking, and high-res modes don't apply beauty filters. Zooming in, you can clearly see moles, acne marks, and tiny facial textures in almost every phone's shot, especially with vivo and OPPO. The weather was extremely gloomy that day, so lighting conditions were rough, but vivo's 200-megapixel Zeiss lens and OPPO's 8K Hasselblad ultra-light mode still delivered impressive clarity. Highlights and eyeshadow remain visible even when magnified. Xiaomi struggled a bit in low light. The face looks softer and slightly blurred. All the shots were taken with some artificial lighting, but nothing was moved around since there was no natural light source. One thing I really like about OPPO is how ultra-light mode automatically detects lighting conditions and switches into 8K capture by itself. For anyone who doesn't want to adjust things manually, it's super convenient. Honestly, it has become one of my favorite features. When it comes to live photos, vivo and Xiaomi don't support live photo in their ultralight modes, while OPPO's Hasselblad ultralight live photo shoots in 4K. That means you can pick your favorite high-resolution frame from every live photo, which is a huge advantage for people like me who rely on live mode for social media. I also took a few landscape shots, and realistically, all four brands handle scenery and objects really well. The differences mostly come down to color calibration and image processing style. Xiaomi in particular benefits from Leica's tuning when shooting objects. It really shines there. So which brand's look do you prefer? Moving on to flash photography at night, if you saw my Reno 14 review, you'll remember how much I praised OPPO's CCD grade flash effect. And although I think the iPhone falls short in some other areas, its flash performance still feels premium and very polished. vivo's flash portrait mode produces lovely results too. Except the algorithm gets a bit too aggressive with my face. Doesn't it look a little mask-like? As flagship models, they all have their strengths. Outside of camera performance, all four phones actually packed in some pretty impressive upgrades this year. So let me quickly go over the improvements I personally think make each of these devices worth considering. Starting with Xiaomi, the standout feature, no surprise, is the rear display. To put it simply, it's genuinely useful. Whether you're checking notifications, tapping quick actions, or using it for interactive features, that secondary screen isn't just a gimmick, it's practical. Now on to OPPO. As someone who cares a lot about portrait photography, I've always enjoyed OPPO's camera tuning, but this time beyond the camera, what grabbed my attention was ColorOS 16. I've been following it since it launched, and after using it myself, I can say it really lives up to the excitement. The overall fluidity is on another level. And when it comes to AI, OPPO's Little Memory 2.0 is incredibly handy. It can analyze whatever's on your screen with a single tap, and it's surprisingly fun to use. It really feels like tech is becoming more human-centered. There's also the AI Real-World Assistant, which answers questions instantly by recognizing objects through the camera. Many people around me don't care about camera quality as much as I do, yet OPPO's AI upgrades this year have made the brand wildly popular. Vivo, much like OPPO, keeps adding meaningful features while maintaining reasonable pricing, aiming to provide one of the best user experiences out there. Their raster-style desktop, for example, looks fantastic and clearly reflects how carefully they design their software. The Origin OS 6 update also gives the control center a really sleek visual effect. For camera lovers who enjoy Vivo's signature look, especially those who like bright skin tones and stronger contrast, the X300 is a great match. When my friend's iPhone got stolen, the first phones I recommended were the X8 and X200, which should tell you something. Now about the iPhone. I've always preferred the standard version over the Pro, but this year, the Pro's upgraded VC cooling and improved front sensor have genuinely boosted the overall experience, especially since overheating is still a noticeable issue on the standard model. As for the cameras, I actually find the front-facing camera more impressive than the rear this time. Many Android flagships have fantastic selfie cameras now, so maybe it's time for Apple to give their front sensor another upgrade next year. And that brings us to the end of this video. I'm curious, after seeing all this, which one would you choose? Overall, each phone has its strengths, but in terms of pure value, OPPO and Vivo are really pushing hard. OPPO's combination of design, display quality, system fluidity, imaging, and AI makes it feel like a flagship that's a step ahead of the usual standard models. Vivo, on the other hand, continues to maintain a great reputation among me and my friends, delivering stable, reliable upgrades every year. While other brands are experimenting with bold redesigns, Vivo sticks to its iconic Oreo camera layout. As for Xiaomi, its dual-screen concept definitely stole the spotlight for innovation this year. For my own use, I'd say it's the most creative dual-screen phone on the market right now. And yes, people keep saying the iPhone's upgrades this year feel too incremental. And honestly, that's fair. All right, that's everything I wanted to share about these 4 flagships. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It really motivates me to make more fun tech content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.